Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, October the 19th. I'm Clay Emo at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. And this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Thank you to those of you who joined me yesterday for my post-game live stream here on YouTube. There are a bunch of us there talking about the Canucks game last night, their 4-1 loss to Winnipeg, talking about their 6-game road trip overall, talking about the future of the team, talking about Pettersson's injury. It was a wonderful, quick, fast-paced discussion. We went for about 38 minutes, so I thank you, everyone who popped on there to support, not just to support me, but to chat about the Canucks. And yeah, I apologize for the 38 minutes of your life that you will never, ever get back again. But thanks again. And as I mentioned last night, I try and do about 2 or 3 of those a month. I can't, I can't promise once a week or anything like that. But if I end up doing 2 or 3 of those post-game live streams a month, I think I'll be happy. And I think it provides some variety on this channel. So let's talk about last night's game. Well, actually, before we do that, we know that the Canucks are off today as they travel home from Winnipeg. They did this morning, and now they have a day off today as they prepare for a quick 2-game homestand. Boston on Saturday night, and then Washington on Monday night. And I'm very excited because I'll be going to both of these games. I did not go to the season opener, so this will be my first time watching a regular season game in Rogers Arena since last April. And my last game was, of course, the Sedin's last home game ever. That memorable game against Arizona at Rogers Arena. And it's almost fitting that the first game that I'm going to this year is against Boston. And we know of the history, and I'll talk about this tomorrow, but the history between Boston and Vancouver. And of course, the Sedins were a big part of that 2011 Stanley Cup finalist team. But yeah, I want to stay in a good mood, so I'm not going to dwell too much on the Boston game right now. Let's talk about last night's game. The Canucks showed up. They played very well against a very strong team, and they ran out of gas in the third period. And that's not an excuse, that's a legitimate reason, because Winnipeg is a legitimately strong team. And as I mentioned yesterday, Winnipeg is my second favorite team, and you can see why. They play fast, they play strong. The one thing I really noticed, although the Canucks were trying very hard, is the Canucks really struggled to get out of their own end in the first and second periods, even when they were playing well. In the third period, it kind of fell apart. The first 2 goals by Winnipeg were actually power play goals, so in one aspect, you can't really blame the Canucks because it's anytime you're killing a penalty, the greater chance that you're going to get scored on. Although the Canucks penalty kill was very strong heading into the game, and then of course 2 regular straight goals for Winnipeg in the third period as they put the game away. But yeah, you see Winnipeg's depth up front, as I mentioned yesterday, with guys like Scheifele and Wheeler and Laine and Connor and Ehlers and Little. Those are their top 6, very strong top 6. You have Trouba, Myers, and of course Bufflin and Connor Hellebuyck holding down the back end. They're a very strong, fast, skilled team, and you can see why they're a safe pick to be at least a Western Conference finalist, or very close to it. It'll be them in Nashville, I think, battling out for that Central Division crown as always. So yeah, that's what Winnipeg was good. No surprise, they were at home. They're coming off that loss to Edmonton. They want to do well, obviously, in front of their home crowd, and they want to get back on the winning track. Let's talk about our team, though, the Canucks. Finishing off a 6-game road trip, a tough 2-week 6-game road trip, spanned 15 days. And on this road trip, they beat some really strong teams. They beat powerhouses like Pittsburgh and like Tampa. Yeah, they lost to Winnipeg, they lost to Calgary, they lost to Carolina, and they also beat Florida in there. So the Canucks go 3-3, get 6 out of a possible 12 points. So now they are 4-3 on the season with still 8 points in 7 games. So I think most Canucks fans will take that 3-3 record on the road trip. They'll take those 6 points because a lot of people were predicting that they'd only get 1, 2, or maybe even 0 wins out of this road trip. What did we see last night? Well, we saw Anders Nilsson come back to earth a little bit. He didn't play a poor game, but you could argue that he could have been a little sharper on some of the goals. Yes, 2 of them were power play goals, but even those, I think he had a chance. Well, Laine's was pretty tough to stop, but the second one I think it was Little coming across the middle. That was one that maybe Nilsson kind of shifted too far to his right, and maybe could have stopped that. Who knows? And then the third goal was a bit of a scramble in front of him, and then I can't even picture the fourth goal right now. Oh yeah, that was the one where Setter's line was on it. So yeah, could Nilsson play better? Maybe, but he has played now 4 in a row, and I contend, and I said this last night, win or loss, I think they were going to go back to Jacob Markstrom anyways. Tomorrow night, because first home game in a little while. Nilsson had played 4 straight, so you got to get Markstrom back in the net. So I look to see Markstrom back starting in goal tomorrow night against Boston. Up front, Louis Eriksson was once again invisible. The only thing I noticed about him was when he gave a nice little push to Adam Gaudette when they were skating through the neutral zone. One of those, you propel the guy by putting your stick on his butt, basically, and push him through the neutral zone. But that's really all I saw him do. And I saw a lot of people complaining on the social media last night about how invisible Eriksson was. Goudobin, his line mate, was stronger. He was noticeable. He made that great pass to Spring Brock Besser in the second period, I think it was. It was early in the game, I know that. I think it was the second period. And Goudobin was noticeable last night, which is really good. Gaudette played a better game than his first game, which is good. Horvat, beautiful goal, wonderful pass from Pouliot from behind his net, basically all the way to the neutral zone, saucing it over to Winnipeg Jets forward sticks and Horvat. And I said this yesterday, it's funny. We know, following the Canucks, that Horvat loves rushing, loves that outside-inside move, whether it's a toe drag or a deke, whatever it may be. So you think that opposing D and opposing coaches would scout it. I know it's easier said than done to say you're going to stop it than actually do it at full speed. But yeah, Horvat's very exciting, not afraid to go to the net. I wish Jake Virtanen would do more of that as well. Maybe he doesn't have the hands that Horvat does, but he's certainly a faster skater, and Horvat just got to have that, Virtanen's got to have that mentality of just getting to the net, making something happen, because you're either going to get a scoring chance or you're going to draw a penalty. But if you don't go to the net, obviously you're going to get neither of those two things. So great goal from Horvat. Too bad was the only one. Wonderful pass from Pouliot. The fourth line of Schaller with Granlund and Mott, a little less noticeable. They're on the ice for one of the goals last night, one of the even strength goals. And then our third line of Sutter between Virtanen and Roussel. Thought played okay. Virtanen showed some early flashes. They communicate well. You can always hear Sutter and Virtanen talking to each other on the ice. And Roussel, had a scoring chance in the first period. And I think, he's kind of made himself at home. Not a lot of rust on, despite, I can't say it. It sounds like I have a lot of rust in my talking. Not a lot of rust in Roussel's game, and I think he will be a strong player for us, and he better be. We have him signed to a 4-year contract. So, last night, the guy that was not playing was Brendan Leipsic. I anticipate him getting in. Usually when you lose and when you're coming home, it's a good, but mostly because you lose, it's a chance for, it's a built-in reason for Travis Green to make lineup changes. So much as I said, Markstrom will likely go in net, I expect Leipsic to get in just to change the look up front. So who comes out? Do they be strong and bench Louis Eriksson, which his play may warrant? Or is it more of a Tyler Mott or Granlund? No, it can't be Granlund because they need 4 centers. So it might be a Tyler Mott or maybe even a Jake Virtanen that sits. We will see on Saturday, tomorrow. And on the blue line, actually, there's a good talking point. 2 talking points already. You can start to comment below. Would you start Markstrom over Nilsson? I think the answer is yes. And are you okay with that? And what do you think of Nilsson's job over the road trip? And then would you get Brendan Leipsic in as a forward? And if you do, who comes out for him? Then on the back end, there's Michael Del Zotto. He's sat for 5 games now, and I think you want to get him back in soon. But then who does he replace? He's a left side defenseman. You're not going to take Alex Edler out, so then really it's Pouliot or Hutton. But both of them have played quite well. Pouliot had a very strong game yesterday, not just that one pass to Horvat, that assist, but I also thought he played strong, he skated well, and Hutton's had a pretty strong start to the season. So do you take any of those guys out, and you're not going to put them on the right side, because obviously Tanev doesn't come out, Stetcher's played well, then unless you take out Goodbranson, and then put Pouliot on the right side, because Pouliot can play both sides, and then you get you get Del Zotto in on the left. So will that happen? The D did not look particularly strong, but then it's who comes out. But maybe, like I just finished saying, it's worth someone coming out as a change of pace for the Canucks. So there's my next question. Would you put Del Zotto in? And then if that's the case, who comes out? Is it Pouliot, is it Goodbranson, or is it Hutton? So I guess those are 3 kind of lineup changes that we can keep an eye on tomorrow morning when the Canucks go for their game day skate. It's what's going to happen in goal. We think it's going to be Markstrom. Is Brendan Leipsic going to get in up front? And is Michael Del Zotto going to get in on the back end? Canucks fans, leave a comment below. Love to know what you think. The one other thing I'll talk about really quickly is Brock Besser. I got all excited after the Pittsburgh game because he had 2 game-winning goals in the last 3 games, 2 goals in the last 3 games. And last night he did not look good. He looked slow. Didn't really create that one beautiful pass from Goudobin to him for that breakaway. I thought he could have got a better shot off. It wasn't bad, but as I remember, I think it went right into Hellebuck's chest as opposed to trying to pick a corner. So at least he didn't shoot wide, maybe trying to create a rebound. Maybe he felt the defenseman was closing in on him pretty quick, because we know Besser's never been the fastest skater. But, you would love to see a sniper like him finish off those chances. But hey, Patrick Laine took 2 chances. It took him 2 tries to score on the power play, which was a very strong goal. Obviously, when you look at Laine, you want Boeser to be like that, right? You think of Laine like Stamkos, like Ovechkin, all those guys kind of setting up there on the power play. Canucks went 0 for 2 on their power play, didn't really set up once, and Boeser just looked slow. And speaking of the power play, one other play I want to talk about is their zone entry was pretty brutal. You might remember Barchi tried to get it in, instead skated around the neutral zone, put it off a Boeser skate. Winnipeg Jets go the other way, breakaway, Nielsen saves it, but then Boeser curls. I think he either thought Nielsen was going to cover it or give it to Edler, but regardless, Boeser curls, Edler gets the puck in a tough spot, turns it over, has to take a hooking penalty, and then of course once the Canucks power play, that was on a power play, once that ended, the Jets get a 50-second power play, they end up scoring on that power play, and they never really look back from there. So that's some thoughts about last night's game. Would love to hear your thoughts. I know we talked about it after the game last night in the post-game live stream, but 12 hours removed after some sleep, what were your thoughts on the game? Were you happy with the way the Canucks played? Was it expected how they played, given that they were tired and given that they were playing against a very strong opponent? And overall, were you happy with the road trip? I think we got to be content, like I said, getting 6 points out of a possible 12. Canucks fans, leave a comment below on the road trip, on the game, on the lineup changes, as I mentioned. And I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video tomorrow morning. I'm going to try, but I'm at a conference from 8 o'clock on, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll try and whip in a quick one in the morning. Otherwise, I will do one either closer to game time or right after the game. Because, yeah, I'm excited. I'll be going to see the Vancouver Canucks take on our best friends, the Boston Bruins, at Rogers Arena tomorrow night. Enjoy the day. God bless, and go Canucks go.